I had to figure out a way to ingratiate myself with the girls in my new high school. So I was in 10th grade at the time, 15 years old. And I saw in the newspaper that Ed Sullivan was going to have the Beatles on his program on Sunday night. So I thought, aha. Got my little brownie camera and I taped it onto a tripod. And I didn't even see the Beatles play. I just shot pictures of them and developed them, and I printed a whole bunch of them and put them in my notebook. And in the morning I got on the bus and found the coolest looking senior girl I could find. Sat next to her and she's like, "What are you doing here?" Because sophomore guys, as far as I know, still don't get any shrift from senior girls. But I asked her if she'd seen the Beatles the night before, and she says, "Yeah, didn't everybody?" And before she could make any more wisecracks, I opened up my notebook. And there were 40 pictures of the show from the night before. This is pre-VCR, 1964. You know, when you don't see the Beatles again until Ed Sullivan says you're going to see them again. And she took a liking to that notebook right away. She said, "Can I borrow this?" I said, "Yeah, sure. You can borrow it." She says, "Good, meet me for lunch." I thought, okay, that's a good thing. Well, I met her for lunch, and she slid across the table. She slid $39 in quarters, $half and singles to me. And I said, "Well, what's this money for?" She says, "Well, you do have the negatives, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Good. Print this list, and I'll do your homework for you tonight, and we'll keep doing this until everybody owns a picture." And I was like, okay. Money, girls, photography, and music. I put blinders on, and I've never looked back. That's what I do. In the mid-'60s, I worked at a music store called Artists Music in Detroit, and we had Vox, which was the franchise for all the British bands. So when they'd come here, the promoter would call the store, and because we were the sponsor, and they'd say, "Well, we need this, this, and this." And I was the 18-year-old kid driving the truck down to the gig, and I always had my camera with me. So I got to photograph the Doors, Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Beck, all of these bands. It was great. Then I met Bob Seger, and I became his road manager in the later 60s. I didn't really take a whole lot of pictures of the concerts because I was responsible for a lot of other things, activities that had to go on. But after I worked for him, I went to all the shows and I shot all kinds of stuff live from the stage, backstage, up on the rafters. I got to go. The roadies would put me anywhere I wanted. It was fun. And that was a lot of fun to be able to record his making it big. Because when I was with him, he wasn't a huge act. Most of the time, I tried to take photos of the whole stage and the whole band playing. A lot of times, I got up close to the individual stars in each group, but for the most part, I tried to record what was happening in front of me so I could, you know, say, "Oh yeah, well, yeah, you think those guys played that? What kind of amp you think they got?" You know, I would know that, and I got a kick out of the knowledge I got out of my photographs. I've actually had many people in bands ask me, "Hey, do you have a picture of me playing my Messenger guitar?" "Oh yeah, sure." You know, I stay friends with a lot of these guys, so it's cool to have, like, for instance, Tom Petty has a Telecaster, okay, and he's got a huge vibrator. It's like a thing that will make the strings vibrate. It's called a vibrator. Unique. He put it on himself, and he loves that picture because it was taken in 1979, and I sent it to him. He sent me an email back and said, "Thanks, man. I'll put that on my website." Well, nowadays, if you go to a concert to shoot a major act, you have to shoot from the front of the stage the first 2 or 3 songs, and that's it. To me, that's lame. I mean, the band's just getting warmed up. There's no sweat or anything. I think managers believe their acts look better without sweat, but I disagree. I think they should let you shoot the whole show. The photographs that we take, our history, it's the history of what we did. Our generation, the people that came up in my age group, we had a unique world to live in. There was a lot of things going on that weren't happening before. And I like to think that I and my colleagues have recorded that for the future. And if you remember that when people say, "Well, is photography art?" Sure, it's art. Art's the response elicited by a creative endeavor. And if you do a really creative photograph because you're really into the subject matter, you're going to get a great piece of art.